Hope everybody's doing well, and you've enjoyed all of the presentations that we've received so far. I want to just engage you for learning on how you can mobilize as parents for CMS, to move CMS forward. Because as Dr. Leach said before, we're all parents. We're all parents. Again, my name is Hamani Fisher, and I have worked with children for over 30 years. I was a repeat juvenile offender counselor when I lived in Atlanta. I worked also as an independent living consultant with a provider with 14 and 15-year-old foster care children. And then I worked as a director of student development at a number of churches. And actually, that's what brought me here to the Huntersville, Charlotte area. I inherited 3,500 students at one time. You try becoming a parent of 3,500 students at one day. And it's a joy, but it's a lot of work. That led me to my introduction to CMS, because one of the most important things that I had to do as that director of student development was engage all of the children, all of the parents, and their environments where they lived and hung out from grades K through 12. We called it from the womb. That's why I got my introduction with CMS. But also, me being a parent of 3 young men that have matriculated through CMS equips me for what I am going to share with you today, because 2 of those young men have already graduated from CMS. One attends Virginia Tech University, and one just graduated, and he's here today. He just recently graduated from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. So we're very proud of him. One thing that we want to do is we want to talk about mobilizing, you as parents mobilizing. And so you received a lot of information, but what I need your help in this presentation, and I need you to speak very loud and engage me. But I like working with children, and when we're speaking with children, we like to get the response back. So I need you to help me out. I'm going to ask you a question. Are you with me? And you're going to say, count me in. Okay, so we're going to try that real quick, and I need you to say it loud. I know this room over here, this side over here, we've been speaking a lot to this side, but I'm engaging this side over here, okay? So I'm going to say, are you with me? And you're going to say, count me in. Are you with me?
Count me in.
Come on, you can do better than that. Are you with me?
Count me in.
Come on, one more time. Are you with me?
Count me in.
There's an adage, an old African adage that says it takes a village to raise a child. But I want to do a remix on that. It takes a village to properly educate a child. And that's us. We are the village. You gotta understand this. Stakeholders such as parents, teachers, educators, churches, community organizations, businesses, civic leaders must come together to encourage learning and educational excellence. And that's why you're here today. Because we cannot do it separate and we cannot do it divided, but together what we can do is properly educate a child. And that's why I need you to be counted in. It takes an entire community of people to provide for and interact positively with children and their teachers. It takes all of us. You've heard about community engagement. You've heard about parent engagement, not involvement, but engagement. Guess what? It takes you, the community, to provide for and interact positively with children and their teachers. So what? So that our children are able to experience as well as grow in a safe, healthy, and encouraging environment. We got to understand this. We politicize the education system. I don't care if you vote donkey, I don't care if you vote elephant, I don't care if you're somewhere in the middle. All of us want what? We want a safe, healthy, and encouraging environment for our children. We should not have to worry about the environments we send them to every day. So guess what we have to do? As a village, we have to come together to properly educate the children. And an environment has to be built on high expectations. If you allow CMS to lower their expectations for your child, that's on you. We cannot allow anybody to lower the expectations for our children. When my children come home, we only accept A's and B's in our house. We don't frown on C's, but we only accept A's and B's. They come and say, well, C minus is passing. In this house, we only accept A's and B's. Why? Because my expectation is high. And guess what they do? They come to that level of expectation. If you get them to that level and that's your expectation, they will perform at that level. So, can I count on you?
Yes.
All right. Now, these are benefits of parental involvement. Did you know that the parents are the #1 educators in life for your child? You're the #1 educator. Don't let anybody tell you that they have more for your child than you have for your child. That's why school starts when they're 4 and 5 years old, because life knows that from those formative years, from when they're born to 5, those are foundational years. And that is when you, as a #1 educator, can educate your child that when they go into a school system, they'll know how to operate, they'll know how to act, they'll know how to read, and they'll know how to engage. Parents have a strong influence on their child. They have a direct influence that is stronger than teachers, friends, and all forms of media. Our children are connected to their phones. They're connected to their devices. But you got to understand, you are the #1 educator. And it's not what you tell them, but it's what you exemplify before them. You have to exemplify someone who cares about education. Both my parents were educators. And in my house, education was very high. It was very valuable. And guess what? It happened to all of my brothers and sisters. We had that same high value on education. Your positive attitude and support towards your children's education is very considerable. If you do not engage in the school system, parent, then your child is not going to engage in the school system. If you show up to the school system, if you show the importance and the value in that school system, then guess what? Then that child knows. You're sending a signal to your child that this is important to this family. You cannot allow, I've worked with parents. We ran a camp in the West Charlotte area, thankful to Commissioner Lee and so many other leaders who funded it. But one thing we understood is if school was important to the parents, then it was important to the child. If school was not important to the parents, it was not important to the child. So you have to exemplify that before them. And understand this, your positive attitude as a parent can inspire and empower your child to develop good learning habits and results of academic success. It's you. You have to have a positive attitude towards their education. We all do, as a community, as a village. So we can tear down our system or we can build it up by showing up. We all have to make a difference. Lastly, I want to share this. There's results for strong parental involvement. Those results are just a few. Increased student achievement. When you are involved in the school, then guess what? Your students' achievement goes up. It will lead to reduced absenteeism. Let me tell you something. My wife, who's here with us today, and we always went to school, and we always introduced ourselves to some very important people. The front office attendant, assistant principal, the principal, SRO, and all supporting staff who were all educators. Why? Because we wanted a call at the house if our sons did not show up at school, and we sent them. And they dare not try it because we said we had eyes everywhere. It reduced absenteeism because, like Dr. Hughes said, we made friends before we needed the friends. And they always engaged. And when something was going on at home, we got a call. Why? Because we showed up and we engaged those who were educating our children. Understand this, your parental involvement provokes better behavior for your children. They promote better behavior. If your child is fearful that you're going to come up to school when something goes down, they're going to act right. Okay? That's how it goes. But then check this last point out. It strengthens the tripod of education. What is the tripod of education? It's so very, very important. It's the student, parent, and educator. That's the tripod. Educator, teacher. Now understand this, the most important peg in the tripod is the student. But you try standing that student up without the parent and the educator, it doesn't happen. It's a tripod. You try standing that student up without a parent, where there's just a student and an educator, it doesn't stand. It's a tripod. It needs all 3 legs. All 3 legs are important. You as a parent have to get with the student and their teacher and stand with them that they can stand and be educated and close that achievement gap. And so it's very important that you show up and engage to mobilize CMS forward.